Hello, everyone. So this is gonna be, I think, episode 160. I'm gonna have to look, but today I'm really excited. I have an awesome guest, Marinella Nicolosi. Sorry, you'll have to correct me if I can get it right. But and today is also a special day. This is probably the last recording of Wine and Real Estate in Canada. So as you can see, for those tuning in to the video version, it's getting quite sparse. So I'm actually auctioning all my belongings next week. It's kind of scary jumping off a cliff. I'm going to leave with one little carry-on, and that's it. No cars, nothing, no furniture, nothing at all. So anyway, today, an awesome guest. We're talking about private lending, which lends itself well because I have a lot of cash now and nothing that I own in Canada anyway. So, Marinella, welcome. Please tell us about yourself. How did you get started in private lending? And yeah, let's dig into that hot topic.
Hi, François. Thank you for inviting me, and really honored to be here today and share my story. I've always been involved in real estate, really, even directly and indirectly, because my parents were also very much involved in real estate as I was growing up. And so I learned a lot from them, even just by watching and listening to them. But then when I came to Canada, I grew up in Italy. When I came to Canada, I wasn't really involved much. I was doing some flips with my ex-husband, really just on our primary residence. But then in 2019, things shift. I had some money that my parents left me, and so I felt responsible because my parents worked really hard all their life, but then unfortunately their lives were cut short, and they got sick and they passed away. And of course, it was a little bit of an awakening for me. And so I decided to really take care of their money because that was the inheritance.
Yeah.
And I felt I needed to really educate myself and understand what to do with that, because it was quite a bit of money. And I had some on my own as well, of course. And so I joined, I educated myself in real estate, and I discovered that there was the private lending strategy. So I took a really good amount of time, a good 9 to 10 months, to really educate myself, especially when it comes to private lending. And unfortunately, there wasn't really one place where you can learn private lending. And so I had to really go out of my way to research and understand what the process is, and how to do it, how to mitigate risks, and how to create a network for myself, how to build up a strong business foundation. And so I did all that, really, and I'm still working on it. As I'm growing, I'm keep building on that. And then, when it came to, after about 10 months, I started investing, and I started, um, loaning or lending my money. And I, at that point, I think I started with about 12 loans. And still going really strong. And at the point, I was doing, like, I was a single mom, making, having to do 3 jobs. Um, and uh, and you know a- and my goal was to really grow my income, and to have multiple stream of incomes, double my income at that point. And at some point, leave my 9 to 5 job. It's not that I didn't like my job. I just wanted to be able to, take care of my schedule, right?
Yeah.
And plus, I have kids. Now they are, sort of young adults. They still are very, needy. Although they're quite independent. But as a mother, you always want to be there for your kids. And plus, I wanted to enjoy life. And I felt that the private lending is really the only, real estate strategy where you can have your money work for you, and you can do other jobs, really, and you can have your life really the way you want it, and you make money while you sleep, basically.
Yes,
So
I love it.
so that's how I started, and it's going really well. I now, as people were asking me how I was doing it and I was trying to help them, I realized that it wasn't simple to communicate how to do it in half an hour, or when you have a meeting or 15-20 minutes meeting with somebody. So I decided to create a course, a private lending course, the Smart Masterclass. And now that's how I educate people. I love to help others to understand how this real estate strategy works, and how you can literally change your life with passive income.
That's amazing. And I'm curious to find out as well. You're in British Columbia. Are the laws slightly different? I'm in Ontario for now, not much longer, but for now. I know the laws, the securities commissions do vary a little bit by province. Are there some things to be aware of? Because I know, especially, I'm right at the border of Quebec. That's a whole different beast. If you want to do private lending there, good luck. That's all I'm going to say. But it is doable. BC, are there differences or things you've learned along the way?
Yes, absolutely. You always want to make sure that you hire a team, that you have a team of lawyers and accountants and anyone who can help you understand this world. Of course, when it comes to the Securities Commission, the rules are very similar province to province. However, yes, they are also very different at the same time. So you do need to, when you are, let's say I'm in BC and I am investing in Ontario, I want to make sure that I have a lawyer from Ontario who helps me understand what the rules are over there. So yes, absolutely, you need to make sure that you understand the risk you're getting into, so the lawyer can also help you into that, and understand the rules and the regulations. Absolutely, that is so fundamental on both sides of the coin, as a lender but also as a borrower. You got to make sure that when you vet your borrower, that they are following those rules as well, and especially if they're dealing with the not accredited investors. And you as a lender, if you're not accredited, you have to really go out of your way to build up relationships, because it takes a long time to learn about a borrower, about their reputation, about their credibility, what their portfolio is about, and learning how to mitigate risks, and understanding what the exit strategies are, and how to vet borrowers, how to vet the location of the project. There is so much involved. I
Yeah.
find private lending is really layered, and a lot of people think it is just lending you money, but it's not like that.
Nope.
There's a lot of due diligence behind it, and when it comes to not only vetting the borrower but also vetting the project itself, because you
Yeah.
have to make sure that the project is viable, it's a strong project. And then there is the legal aspect of it as well. So yes, so you got to really learn how to do it yourself, and have also a strong team of professionals behind you who can help you in the vetting process, and understanding if you can trust the borrower, if they are taking responsibility for your money, and if they're willing to repay you, if they have the capacity to repay you,
Yeah.
even if the project doesn't go well, right? So those are all the things that you really need to look at and make sure that you know what you're getting into, and how you're gonna get your money back.
No, I love it. And you mentioned a point earlier. I know for you, it's probably common knowledge, but to some people, what's the difference between accredited and non-accredited investors? I get that question all the time. I repeat it until I'm blue in the face. It's really important that people know the difference, because the laws are very, very different depending on who you are. And as you mentioned, as a lender and as a borrower. So if you could expand on that, Marinella, that'd be great.
Yes, absolutely. As an accredited investor is a sophisticated individual who has a certain, these individuals or companies, they are at a different level, financially. And so as an individual, you would have to make at least 200 to, depending whether it's, if you are, it's your own income, is the individual income, or with a spouse, between 2 to 300,000 a year, and for consecutively for 3 years in a row, right? And or you can you have to have a liquid assets of 1 million or more, or you have assets of about 5 million. And in that case, you can include your primary residence. When it comes to the cash, basically, is when it comes to the 1 million, you cannot include your primary residence as well, because that's not considered cash value. So those are pretty much sort of the general rules, but like we were saying before, make sure that, if you really want to know more about what an accredited investor is, that you consult with a securities lawyer, because there is a lot more to that as well.
Yes.
And the ins and outs, and see if you follow in those within those guidelines.
Yeah, because it makes a big difference. I see people on social media raising capital, asking for money, promising returns, all kinds of big no-nos that the securities commissions are looking for, and they can get in trouble. And people don't, they mean well, they're starting out, but it's a very dangerous space to be in. So that's why it's important to join programs like yours. I know you're not teaching on the securities part directly, but still people are now equipped. They have the right network. And earlier you mentioned as well about building your network. Why is that important, and how would you do it?
Absolutely. I really agree with everything you said. I find that actually, like you said, a lot of people out there are just, asking for money, and they're not
Yeah.
even willing to build up on relationships. I receive people knocking on my door. They don't even know me, and they ask me for funds. That's illegal. That's soliciting for funds, right?
Yeah.
That's soliciting, and that's, again, that's not that's illegal. I could literally go to the Securities Commission and say, hey, this guy started asking for money, right? If I
Yeah.
was somebody who wanted to put people in trouble, but I usually don't do that. However, like you said, that's why it's important to have a network, because especially for people who are not, accredited investors, you need to have a minimum of 12 points of contact in order to be able to invest with somebody. So it means that you fall within the category of friends of family.
Yeah.
So if you're not a family member, then you should fall within the friends. But how do you define a friend? If
That's
you
it.
just meet
Facebook friend.
somebody, yeah, if you just meet somebody or you ask somebody you don't even know for money, that's not your friend, right?
No.
And you don't even know if they are accredited, right? So and that's why it's very important to build up your network. And I always say, you have different networks. You really need to have different sort of networks where you define the people who are in those different, I call them circles, because you want to know, okay, who are your professionals, you want to know who are your friends, you want to
Yeah.
know who are the people you can invest with, and also you want to know the people who can help you expand your network as well, right? So there is different kinds of networks. So I'm really strong, and I teach people on how to create all these different networks. And to me, it's fundamental to build up relationships, whether you are an accredited or not accredited investor. To me, it's fundamental because it helps me to build up those long-term relationships where I can lend my money on a regular basis. And
Yeah.
so I don't have to always look for other investors. As my money grows, of course, I'm gonna keep expanding my network. But if I have relationship with solid borrowers who I can help them grow, and they can help me grow at the same time, those are really win-win situations, right? And it really cuts down on my baiting, because as I get to know them more and more and better, then all I have to do is really vet the projects at that point, because I really know that person. And yes, things can change, and you can always ask for new documentations. However, you know there is still a trust, there is still that relationship within the bond that help us to maintain that the reputation, right? Like we all work towards maintaining a good reputation so that we can all grow together, right? So to me it's fundamental to, the relationship side of things is fundamental, because then it helps you build up your network at the same time.
Yeah, it really does. And your network, it was worth a lot. As you mentioned, it makes it easier. You don't have to market as much if you've got money. One of my private lenders, she told me, similar to you, after a while, oh, I know you, just tell me about the deal. I don't want to know about you anymore. Just want to know about whatever you want to do. What is it? Give me the details. And that's it. That's all she wanted, because we've done several deals together. And also, a lot of these lenders end up having a smaller circle of borrowers because they're repeat business. Every few months, let's say somebody's a flipper, well, like clockwork, every 6 months or every 12
For sure.
months or whatever it is, they keep coming back to you again. Can we just recycle it? Sure, let's just renegotiate the terms, things like that. So, do you lend cash or lines of credit or registered funds, or you do a blend, or what do you do?
I lend everything. I have registered
Anything.
funds,
Okay.
I have cash, I have HELOC, and those are all means of investing. Like you can use, anyone can use their registered funds. Anyone, if you have some cash sitting in the bank, even $5,000, 10,000, honestly, don't let it sit in the bank. Invest it. There's a
No.
lot of funds that you can start with $5,000, 10,000, where they accept the minimum of $5,000, 10,000. Because some people think being a private lender is you have to have thousands of dollars. That's not the case. You can still private lend with literally $5,000, 10,000. Like my kids are starting because they have a little bit of savings, and I help them. They invested $10,000 each, right?
Yeah.
So you can start as little as $5,000 as well. So if you have money sitting in the bank, and honestly, reach out to me, I can help you. There's a lot of really great companies out there who have mutual funds, who accept, as little, there's REITs companies, there's all kinds of funds that are really great, that where you can generate between 10 and 12, even 14%, 16%, depending on the actual what the portfolio is made of. But those are things that you need to learn, right? And you can vet that. But yeah, there are a lot of opportunities out there where you can invest with, again, register funds, HELOC. You can secure a HELOC on your house. If you own a house and you have equity in there, you can definitely access your equity by securing a HELOC. And that's what I did. That's how I started as well. I had this money, and I also secured a HELOC on my house, so I ended up with quite a bit of money that I could lend out. And
That's amazing.
yeah, and then again, if you got cash, if you work, if you have a good job and you are saving, like if you have, if you're someone who knows how to budget, your income, and you have savings coming in every month. I know that we're going through a really hard times right now with inflation, and the cost of living has gone up a lot. However, like I can see from my own experience, I always able to save something each and every month. So if you're someone like that, save that money and invest it. Like I said, you can, anybody can do it.
Yeah, and seriously, I mean, at any age as well. That's something else. You mentioned young people, like your kids. What
As
about,
long as they're 18, you have to be
yeah,
18 and older, right? And yeah,
to sign a contract and all that, but also seniors? So a lot of people think about inflation and they're worried, but I think about teachers. My dad was a teacher. Their pension plan is adjusted to inflation. So inflation doesn't affect people like him at all. It's actually, they couldn't care less really, because they get an increase every time inflation goes up. So they have all this money they can lend out as well. So yeah, if you're 65 or 60, or he retired at 52, you can start lending as well. I mean, it's not because you stop working that you're done. Like, this could be a second career, or as you said earlier, you quit your job and you do this as kind of your main bread, like your money making option, and then the rest is it's separate. So
Yes.
there's all kinds of great opportunities.
Absolutely, especially for senior, I would say, I see a lot of seniors out there who are working like at Walmart, and
Yeah,
you know, and unfortunately they are in situations where, you know, they have to work. But honestly, if they're able to,
save that.
yeah, save and create a second stream of income with the private lending, they can literally change the future. And it's I am a single mom, and like I said before, I used to work 3 jobs in order to make like $50,000 a year, and then but I was still able to save, and I had some money. And then thankfully, I mean, hopefully, I was hoping that my kids wouldn't die so young. But thanks to them, I wish I had still my parents here, but they left me quite a bit of money. Then I was able to really to change my life. So thanks to some of their money as well. However, I also really tried hard to understand, okay, what else can I do to help myself? And
Yeah.
because I did own a house, I was like, okay, I can secure a HELOC on my house as well. So you have to be creative. You really need to educate yourself and understand what is that I can do. Talk with professionals, with like mortgage brokers who specialize in private lending, because I can tell you, not all mortgage brokers understand the private lending side.
No.
They actually have to educate themselves on private lending.
Yeah.
They don't get educated on private lending. Mortgage brokers, they have to do special courses in private lending in order to specialize in that. So don't just go with it to any mortgage broker. You have to go to the right ones. But if you find those ones who are specialize in private lending, they can really help you understand what you can do with your financial situation, and how you can start, where to find your initial capital to invest. And again, like I said before, even if you have $5,000-10,000 sitting in the bank or in a mutual fund that is only making 0.5%, like you can literally take that and invest it in something else where you can generate 10% now, and there is no fees. That's the beauty of private lending, that if you invest your money in your mutual funds through a bank, there is fees involved, which they
Yes.
basically, you're not making any money, because the
Nope.
fees basically are eating all your returns. In private lending, there is no fees attached. On the contrary, your borrower pays for your fees.
Yes.
It's great. So, it's a really, those are the strengths of private lending, that you can also decide who you want to lend with, what and where and how. You are really the master of yourself, like your own master. So you can really decide what you want to do with your money, and there isn't really the bank associate who is going to tell you what to do.
No, and I love it. And a lot of people think registered funds, let's say let's take an RSP. So, okay, great. The money's going to go back in that registered fund, but people forget fees, which you mentioned there. As a private lender, you could charge all kinds of fees that are outside of the registered fund. So some of the money you actually get in your hands or in your account, and then a lot of it goes to the RSP, obviously, but you can still do quite a bit that way and create an income stream with money you may have accumulated through a job. Like, some employers do a match, so you put in 3% of your paycheck, and then they put in 3%. Sometimes that amount can be lent out depending on how it's set up. But do you have experience with that, like making money off of those fees you can charge to the lenders or the borrowers? Sorry.
Yeah, basically, usually when it comes to, when you are investing with the borrower, and you are doing, let's say, a mortgage, like you can lend your registered funds and use them for like mortgages basically. And so what happens is that the borrower is the one who's going to pay for all the fees of
Legal.
the legal fees. Of course, if you have to use your lawyer to vet the borrower, then those fees are on you, right? As a
Yeah.
lender, because now you are using your lawyer to vet the borrower and to understand the borrower. However, when it comes to the transactions and you're using your, registered funds to invest, and help, in any project that the borrower is offering, the borrower actually will pay for your lawyer, will pay for all the fees and everything involved with all those transactions. So definitely, and we're talking about thousands of dollars here. We're not like just
Yeah.
$100. So it's a huge savings that as a lender you don't have to spend. It's on the borrower. So yeah, that's a great advantage, and you have your money working on, like, when you talk about first position mortgage, you're looking at 10, sometimes even 12% returns. When you're talking about second position mortgage, you're talking about 14%.
Yeah, much
So
higher.
it's there is some really good returns here that you can make.
Yeah, and I've heard here it's quite common. People also like they make you pay for the legal, but they also have a lender fee. So like at $2,000 just to look at your file, and that doesn't include legal. So that's another source of income. It's taxable, obviously, but it's like a separate
Yeah.
fee that you charge. I use 2,000. I mean, that's a random number, but I know there's amounts depending on, it's like a sliding scale, depending on how large the file is and the
Yeah,
risk element.
lender fees are usually they can vary between 1% and 3%. I've seen even 5%.
Yeah.
So it really depends, and on the project and what the deal is about. And the nice thing about lender fees is they're usually upfront.
Yes.
So if you actually do the math, you are making more money when you have any upfront payment. It's actually it results like on
Compounding.
your return. It's actually higher than what it says on paper.
Yeah.
So
No, it's great. It's a great way to get some money out and leaving the money. So you're having your cake and eating it too. It
yeah,
is possible.
you have the cherry on the cake. Uh,
Yeah, and everything. So, but no calories, which I love. There you go.
nice. You can still lose weight
Yeah,
or
that's it.
maintain your weight.
The joys of
Absolutely.
private lending. So,
Yes.
wow, that's awesome, Marinella. Thank you so much for sharing about your experience. And I'm glad that you mentioned people can get started with small amounts. I hear all the time, oh, I need 100,000. Well, that might take a while till you get there. So why not start at 5, 10? Of course, the options are a bit more limited, but you start there and then you grow more confident. Then you get your line of credit or HELOC, or you see, I don't know, you find ways because you see, okay, I'm making money. So
Well,
you
if
get
you think
resourceful.
about it, if you got your money sitting in the bank with inflation, you're actually losing money,
Total every day.
right? So, but if you invest it, even if you think that you're not, making a big impact, with time, you are making a big
Yeah,
impact in your own life, because instead of losing money, you're actually now generating an income. And if
totally.
you do the math, even if you have, let's say, $5,000, at 10%, right? You made $500 in, let's say, at 10%, you made $500 in a year. So after a year, you already have $5,500. Like,
Yeah.
so it's important to understand that you can grow even in a little way and in a small step, but at least you're growing. You're not losing money.
That's it. That's the most important part is incremental changes makes a big difference in the long
Yeah.
run. So,
Yes.
Marinella, how can people get a hold of you or find out more about your program? Because that sounds very exciting.
Yeah, thank you. For sure. First of all, you can go to my website, privatelendingqueen.com. It's very easy. You go on privatelendingqueen.com. You can reach out to me at smart at foryouttosucceed.com or Marinella at foryouttosucceed.com. There is a link there. It's you can set up a discovery call on my website with me. And you can read all about the Smart Masterclass, my private lending course, which is both for borrowers and lenders, on my website. So yeah, it's privatelendingqueen.com. I don't know if you're going to put the link as well on the
Yes, I'll
on the
share the
show.
link.
Yeah, and people literally go on my website, and there you can find out even more about myself and the course. And again, you can reach out to me through email. You can set up a discovery call on my website.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much. It was a pleasure, and we'll have to connect again soon. I can't wait to hear what you're doing next, if you found a new source of money to lend and leverage. And yeah, it was a pleasure. I invite everybody to follow Marinella on social media as well. You're quite active. You share some really good insights and other interviews as well. So it's always nice to have a guest such as yourself. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will post this interview on my website as well. I have a media page.
Okay, excellent.
So yeah, I will definitely link this to my website so people can listen to that to this one as well on the website, and with many others interviews as well.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much and have a great rest of your day. Cheers.
Thank you. It was great to be here.
Thanks.